Hello, this is Brother Oats. Exodus chapter 32, verses 7 through 9. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereupon, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people, according to Acts chapter 7 and verse number 38. It describes this chaotic event in Exodus chapter 32 as the church in the wilderness. If this church, this ecclesia, called out assembly in the wilderness, was indeed a church, it was a church gone bad because it had no leadership. The Bible says in Exodus chapter number 32 and verse number 1, As for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. Moses had been on top of Mount Sinai for 40 days communing with God and receiving tablets of stone on which the very finger of God had written his word. But while gone, the high priest Aaron was anything but a leader. When Moses got back, Aaron's trying to describe how things had gotten so completely out of control. He said, I just took their jewelry. He said, I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. He was lying, of course. There was no worship. Verse 8 says, and have worshipped it, talking about the molten calf, and have sacrificed thereupon. According to John chapter 4 and verse number 24, God is not a calf. The Bible says that God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. There was no singing. In verse number 17, the Bible says there was a noise of war in the camp. Verse 18 says this voice was a voice that sounded like a cry for being overcome. Joshua recognizes it and says that this noise is a noise of them that sing, but it was anything but godly singing. Godly singing is not a noise of war or crying in despair of being overcome. Moses then, in verse number 25, recognizes that the people were naked. There were no clothes. And all of this because the people were impatient. Their trust in God had been blocked by the fear of a leaderless future. If you too are looking into your future with fear, perhaps you need to do what they should have done. Instead of there being no trust, just stop and look back and realize that God has led you safe thus far.